What should you expect from your wide receivers during a BYE-NADO? That's coming up next. Doing a start-sit during a major bye week is a tough one because you may have to start a sit. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about what to expect from these players coming into week 7. And we're going to start with Sterling Shepard. 48.4% started in ESPN leagues. Has the Panthers a tough secondary in week 7. But I think that is not going to matter specifically in PPR leagues with Sterling Shepard when you think about the fact that Kenny Golladay is not practicing with that hyperextended knee. Kadarius Toney left on his third reception of the game in the first drive, never came back, won't be playing in week 7. Darius Slayton might play, might not. And then you're talking about like guys like Dante Pettis. John Ross is dealing with a hamstring injury. Evan Ingram didn't participate in practice. Like, we're talking about who the fuck is Daniel Jones going to throw the ball to other than Sterling Shepard? This guy not only should be basically 100% rostered this week, he should be 100% started with the anticipated work that he should be getting. Think about secondary might be tough, but they still ceded 7 touchdowns to wide receivers this season. And, you know, you're talking about the safety blanket for Daniel Jones. He's got 33 targets in the 3 games that he's finished, 26 catches in those 3 games. I have a feeling this week he's going to find the end zone for the first time this season. That or Daniel Jones isn't going to throw a touchdown. Who else is he throwing the ball to? Pettis? Worse than he was when he was in San Francisco. I mean, we're talking about extreme desperation at the wide receiver position. There is literally nobody else to throw the ball to, and then you take into account how many teams are on a bye week. He's a must start. Sterling Shepard, a must start for week 7. Looking at a put up or shut up week for Tyler Lockett. What? Tyler Lockett, put up or shut up? Goddamn straight. Tyler Lockett, 80% started in ESPN League. He's got 26 targets in the last 4 games. That's 6.5 targets a game. How good is that in PPR, guys? Like, you're expecting Tyler Lockett to get better than 6.5 targets in a game. Only 2 games with double-digit targets this season. You're looking at a team with no Russell Wilson for how long? I don't know. Minimum 3 more weeks. I mean, what else you got, man? Like, I just don't know. Like, he's got no touchdown since week 2. Shown no chemistry so far with Geno Smith. But you look at this week, a beatable secondary. You should expect Marshawn Latimer to shadow DK. At least that's what I would expect. If he can't do it this week, how can you trust to have him in your lineup? There's 80% of managers out there that trust to have Tyler Lockett in their lineup right now. And with the condition of this offense and what obviously, I mean, I know they're going to want to run the ball, but at this point, that's another story. Like, Seattle's banged up. They're just plain banged up. And I don't know if they can take advantage of Tyler Lockett with the situation that they have there. And I'm worried about him. And that's why he's in a put up or shut up situation, because if he can't do it this week, where, New Orleans has a good defense, but I do think the focus is going to be on DK, and Tyler Lockett should be good enough to beat this secondary. And the question now is Geno Smith good enough to get Tyler Lockett the ball? And that is the biggest question here. We know Russell Wilson can do it, and we know that Tyler Lockett is a boomer bust guy with Russell Wilson. But is he a boom guy with Geno Smith? And at this point, I think we have one more week where, like I said, this isn't a terrible matchup. 80% of people trust him in their lineups. After this, if he doesn't do it this week, I think you have to have tempered expectations with him moving forward. And I think he is definitely not a set it and forget it wide receiver. Right now, to me, he's a wide receiver 3 at best, just based off what he's done since week 2. But he can silence me. He can make me think twice if he can make something happen in week 7. So Tyler Lockett, put up or shut up. A quick reminder to make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel in the lower right corner. And you can get this great content weekly. And we will move on to receivers in a position to succeed. Now, this is a tough one, man. This guy's kind of been a little bit up and down, but more up when Tua has been the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. We're talking about Jaylen Waddle. I'm sure you're kind of got a little bit of trepidation. He's had a couple big weeks with big target share. But, his yards per catch, not great. But his best game was with Tua. His best 2 games with Tua. Coming off a game where he caught 10 balls for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns, PPR format, that's an unbelievable day. Those are the type of days that Jarvis Landry turned himself into an all-star in fantasy, that we're hoping for bigger and better things from Jaylen Waddle, but that's saying something. That we're expecting bigger and better things from Waddle, and he's still coming off a 10 reception game for 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. And now he gets the Falcons. They've 3 games giving up at least 2 touchdowns to wide receivers. And teams that haven't scored are touchdowns with wide receivers against this defense are the Giants and the Jets. And Jets dealing with a up and down rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, showing some promise, but definitely having his rookie downs. And I'm not surprised he wasn't able to get a wide receiver in the end zone. Giants, well, Daniel Jones, not known for getting wide receivers in the end zone. And when we think about it, he did get, Barkley in the end zone on a long touchdown. So two offenses that it's, I'm not surprised they didn't get wide receivers in the end zone. Other than that, Falcons have not been a tough matchup. And I would expect that Jaylen Waddle, Tua, try picking up where they left off. I guess my only concern would be, is Tua mentally strong enough to deal with all the bullshit that's surrounding the Miami Dolphins, Deshaun Watson, trade rumors, fucking is Tua going to go to fucking Washington, get reunited with Ryan Fitzpatrick. These are the fucking days of our lives of the fucking NFL. Are you fucking kidding me? So with all of that aside, I think Jaylen Waddle is set up to have a great week once again. 3 touchdowns with the games that he started with Tua. Tua's started 3 games with him, and in reality, he only, had a drive and a half in week 2. So when you think about it, the 2 games he's played with Tua, he's got 3 touchdowns. There is a chemistry there from their days back at Alabama. The upside is there. I just wish Miami would get a little bit more creative, the way that Jason Garrett has been creative with Kadarius Toney when Kadarius Toney was healthy. So, if they could get a little more creative with Jaylen Waddle, maybe, just maybe, we can get what we're expecting out of him. But still 10 for 70 for 2 is pretty damn good. Moving on, Darnell Mooney, 24.2% started in ESPN leagues. He was a guy that I thought was set up to be in a position to succeed last week. Had a good week, whether he was in standard PPR. 5 catches, 45 yards, a touchdown. Obviously, that's more of a PPR day. 16.5 points in PPR is not something you're going to be pissed off about. You'll be pretty happy if your wide receiver gets that. And now, they're going to need him against Tampa Bay, a banged up secondary. That secondary is banged the fuck up. And, wide receivers have been able to take advantage of this secondary. You think about the teams that haven't: Philadelphia, okay, Miami, got 1 touchdown on them, okay, and actually I take that back. Miami didn't get any touchdowns on them, but who was starting at quarterback there? It was Jacoby Brissett, right? So Philadelphia, Miami, New England, see where I'm going with this? Hurst is not a good quarterback. Miami, Jacoby Brissett, not a good quarterback. We're dealing with Mack Jones, who's kind of doing the Chad Pennington thing right now, not really pushing the ball down the field, being pretty safe. Their wide receivers just don't score touchdowns, right? The tight ends are what's scoring touchdowns in New England. So, I understand why wide receivers from these teams, just like in the previous guy with Jaylen Waddle, haven't been scoring touchdowns. Meanwhile, all the other teams are fucking going the fuck off. So, you think about Allen Robinson doing it with an ankle injury, did not participate in practice on Wednesday. The chemistry between Fields and Mooney. I want Mooney in my lineup in a BYE-NADO week. And we'll do another quick shameless plug real quick, letting you know I joined 1080 The Fan here in Portland Sunday mornings for a half hour of start-sit advice leading up to game time. You can look for the information to find out how you can send in your questions in the description of the video. Now, not your week. This one's going to Corey Davis, 21% started, so most people on board with this one. He had 2 receptions for 8 yards in week 2 when the Jets played New England. Obviously, that doesn't bode well for Corey Davis in their second meeting. Granted, they're coming off a bye. Maybe they have a couple tricks lined up for New England, but we haven't seen the Jets play much competent football this season, and if anything, there's one real good piece right now to really take away from the Jets. That's Corey Davis. So I imagine Bill Belichick will, for the most part, take away Corey Davis. I think other pieces are going to have moments that might be pretty fantasy relevant. It smells kind of like maybe a Jamison Crowder game, or maybe they come out of the bye week and they really try getting second round rookie Elijah Moore going, because a lot of teams like getting their rookies going out of the bye. So I could see this being a Moore game. I could see this being a Crowder game, but I don't think it's going to be a Davis game. And 79% of managers out there agree with me. So just go ahead, keep Corey Davis on the bench. I don't think, I understand New England is not a great secondary, but they have done a great job against their middling division opponents, and that is Miami, and that is the Jets. So once again, keep Corey Davis on your bench. You can probably find better elsewhere. Beware, staying in the same game, Jacoby Myers. He's 39.9% started, so there are 40% of managers out there that trust this guy to be in their lineup, and it's possible that they don't have anything better in a PPR format during a major bye week. But the Jets have only given up 2 touchdowns to wide receivers this season. And we can also, take into account that Jacoby Myers has yet to catch a touchdown as a fucking wide receiver in his professional career. So they don't give up touchdowns to wide receivers. Jacoby Brissett doesn't catch wide receivers. And then you think about the fact that The Jets are terrible against the run. New England is more interested in running the ball, though they have been a little bit more interested in passing with Mack Jones than I anticipated, but they're still want to run the ball. That's going to be a good day for Damian Harris. Not so much for Jacoby Myers, who the last couple weeks has been seeing kind of a dip in his targets. When you think about what he do in week 2 when these opponents first saw each other, only 4 receptions for 38 yards on 6 targets. That's definitely not going to do it for you. You're probably going to kind of, vomit in your mouth a little bit when you see those numbers at the end of the day and he's in your lineup. So I don't, beware. Maybe you don't have anything better, but just, it might suck. It might suck come the end of the week and Jacoby Myers is in your lineup. And this is another guy who it's a 50-50 guys, 48% started. DeVonta Smith for the Philadelphia Eagles. He does have a tough matchup against the Raiders. Now, I understand Broncos went a little bit ballistic on them. Well, that was kind of late junk time bullshit, right? Like, that wasn't like competent quarterback play. That wasn't like amazing wide receivers taking advantage of a poor defense. It was just junk time. Raiders had control of the game. They started playing a little bit softer. Broncos tried making a stupid fucking push, make it look a little less pathetic than the game actually fucking was. It's not a bad secondary. In fact, it's actually a pretty damn good secondary. They've shut down some damn good wide receivers this season. And I know DeVonta Smith, he runs absolutely sick routes. My concern is, one, obviously, pretty good defense. They have shown the ability to rush the passer a little bit. And I think that's going to force Hurst to rely more on his legs than his arm. And then when he does rely on his arm, he hasn't been very accurate. He's not a very good quarterback. He's been a good fantasy quarterback because of his legs. He's not bailing out fantasy owners because of great plays with his arm. He's not... He's a actually below average quarterback, but he's playing a damn good running back playing a quarterback, and that is saving fantasy managers. So I just don't believe in DeVonta Smith having a great game, but going back into major bye week might be your best option. Just not a great matchup. They've only given up 3 touchdowns to wide receivers. You got just absolutely spotty garbage quarterback play with Hurst, and I think there's better days ahead for DeVonta Smith. I just don't think week 7 is one of them. If you put him in your lineup, I'll be praying for you. Hope it goes well. In fact, I put him on my hate list. It probably will go well for you, but I just see all of these reasons as to why it won't. He's kind of a boom or bust. He's 50-50 right now, right? And right now is on the 50, he busts. So hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Call in or text in your start-sit questions to 1080 The Fan on Sunday mornings when I join Mike Lynch, Rashad Taylor for the Fantasy Scramble. We answer your questions. You can send them into 503-250-1080. Listen on Odyssey.com. I will have the link down below in the description. Thank you again, and make sure that you check out my running back start sits for week 7.